Hi, good afternoon. So for today, we're going to discuss about what is communication, what is mode of communication, and what are the five modes of communication. Later on, you will get to know these as we're going to tackle about this today. But first, let us get to know what is communication. I know that the word itself is not new to us since we encountered it during our junior high school years or senior high school years. So I presumed that most of us already had knowledge about what is communication. So I have here two definitions of communication from different sources. The first source is from skillsyouneed.com, which says communication is the process of transmitting information from one person, place, or group to another. And the second source is from Merriam-Webster, which says communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. Communication may be defined in different contexts, but it comes down to one thought that we communicate for us to be understood. The purpose of communication is for us to be understood by other people what we are trying to convey to them. Mode is a term used to describe the way something is done or experienced, while mode of communication, we are describing the way communication is expressed. In other words, in mode of communication, we are describing the methods or the techniques used in communication. Example of mode of communications are verbal and nonverbal cues. According to the New London Group, there are five modes of communication. These are visual, linguistic, spatial, oral, and gestural. The first mode of communication is visual. Visual mode helps someone to communicate the message in a way that can be seen by the audience or the recipient of the message. This includes images, videos, colors, visuals, and etc. There are cases that individuals must see it visually for them to believe, and visuals can be helpful and even more persuasive. For example, if you want to showcase how climate change has devastated the Arctic ecosystem, we may include or use video presentations that shows real-world footage, just like this video on the screen from National Geographic. Through this, we could persuade people that this is actually existing and happening in some parts of the world. The visual mode also includes elements of designs and allows writers a more creative way to present text on a page or screen. Just like the textbook photo on the screen, which makes use of the labels, colors, headings, and other visual features to help the readers to easily grasp and understand the information.
One of the modal communication is linguistic. So what is linguistic? Linguistic is also known as alphabetic mode. It is the study of language. So what does it really mean? It means that it is analyzing the human language by observing an interplays between sound and meaning. Linguistic or alphabetic mode includes written and spoken words, word choice, grammar, vocabulary, structure, and organization of sentences and paragraphs. One of the example of written and spoken words are poem and stories, just like Romeo and Juliet. And vocabulary is a collection of word in a particular field, just like the language of doctors, nurses, architect, and LGBTQ. They have their own language that as students or maybe the teachers don't understand them. Grammar is a structure of language that is consisting of syntax and morphology. So what is syntax? Syntax is the arrangement of word in a sentence. So maybe we are going to follow the syntax formula, which is the subject plus verb and direct object. For example, I enjoy college, and the second one is hurricanes are scary. So those are one of the example of syntax. And again, syntax is the arrangement of a word in a sentence. So how about morphology? Morphology is a word formation. From the word morphemes, it means the small unit of a word that it creates meaning. For example, doghouse. So doghouse, when we split it together from the word dog, refers to animals, which is dog or animal. And then house, it means dwelling for human being. But when you put it together, it creates new word. It creates new meaning. It means doghouse is a shelter of a dog. Again, morphology is a word formation. Lastly is structure. What is structure? It is the word and sentences have parts and combined in patterns. So this is consisting the syntax, phonology, and semantics. So we all know that syntax is the formation of a word or arrangement of a word in a sentence. And then, so we are going to phonology. So what is phonology? That is the study of human speech sound. Derived from the word phone, it means sounds. So I have two examples. First is I have read that book. So it means nakabasa na siya ng libro. And the second one, red is my favorite color. So red is her or his favorite color. So it means there are some words that have different spelling but the same pronunciation. Again, phonology is the study of human speech sounds. So you are just going to focus on the sound of the speech. And the third is semantics. So what is semantics? Semantics is the meaning of words, phrases, and sentences. One of the example of linguistic or alphabetic mode are text messages, emails, academic essays, and shopping list. So why those are one of the example of linguistic? It is because they are relying on words to create meaning. Spatial mode includes physical arrangement, spacing, position, organization, proximity, direction, and distance of elements in a text. Example of spatial mode includes trifold pamphlet and printed on paper. So just like the university's brochure, they put all the information there that the students to be knowledgeable and aware of their university's information. For example, the tuition every sem, the courses they offered, and the background of their school. So why this is one of the example of spatial mode? It is because this is the physical agreement impact, the way the audience can interact with their works. Websites also rely heavily on the spatial mode to communicate. For example, menus, headers, physical layout, and navigation tools such as link. For example, aning menus is ang kanang app na Food Panda, di ba? There are different food establishment na ilang menu dira like sa Jollibee, and you can download the app and then choose the food that you want. Then after a few minutes, you can get your order. So that is one of the example of websites. This will help audience to interact with the site spatially. Also, websites are considered multimodal text since multiple modes are used to communicate with the audience.
Oral. Oral mode of communication involves the transmission of information through the auditory sensory system, the system of speaking and hearing. It usually encompasses both verbal communication and paralinguistic communication to convey meaning. Oral communication can be used to transmit information independently or in combination with visual communication. Also, oral communication relies heavily on verbal language when information is transmitted through spoken words. Oral mode includes spoken words, sound, music, volume, rhythm, speed of delivery, pitch, tone, and voice. For example, have you ever listened to a game on the radio? Listen to the way the sportcasters help the audience to experience the game through sound. This podcast is considered a multimodal text since the authors combine words with sound. Another example of the oral mode is an audiobook. Listen to the following excerpt from The Courage by Jenna Baxter. Spoken words can add depth and emotion to a story. As you listen, pay attention to the volume, rhythm, pitch, speed, and tone of the narrator's voice. Multimodality can enhance the experience of reading a text. Gestural. Gestural mode of communication allows writers to communicate meaning through movement. Traditionally, this mode was used primarily in face-to-face interaction. However, modern technology allows writers to show movement virtually in their work through video. Also, gestural mode is often used in combination with other modes, such as linguistic, alphabetic, or written or spoken, spatial or physical arrangement, and oral or sound, to provide an enhanced sensory experience for the audience. Gestural mode includes movement, speed, expression, body language, facial expression, physical proximity, and interaction between people. For example, sign languages use the gestural mode since position of the sign and movement are significant factors in generating and distinguishing meaning. Example, at the video, look at how the speakers use movements of the hands, head, face, and body along with the position and speed to communicate meaning to the audience. Sign languages are considered multimodal communication since they combine linguistic alphabetic text with movement.
Verbal communication. So when we talk about verbal communication, what we think is how the speaker speaks or it's the use of voice, but it is successful only if it considers both audible and visible expressions when giving presentation. This suggests that effective speakers do not only consider their ideas and language, such as their choice of words, but with their bodily expression through gestures and other physical movements, as well as to reflect their thoughts and serve the essential of speech delivery. So one thing here is both audible and visible expression. So for example, what I am doing right now is I am doing a hand gestures for me to properly express my thought on this topic, and this also suggests that I am opening something to my audience. It also helps gestures to connect to your audience. Four modes of speaking. So there are four modes of speaking, which are the impromptu, extemporaneous, memorized, and manuscript reading. So first, we have impromptu. It is given without previous preparations, talking the spur of the moment. So examples of impromptu is, for example, you get called into a meeting to tell them the latest on an issue. So for example, during class discussion, no, they start their lesson proper, they will ask you, for example, what is communication? So like that, it's like an impromptu hala nangutana si mom, so like that. Then it is a search for an idea, not word. So when you are asked by your teacher what is communication, ang imo pang search is da ang una, is ang sunod, di ba? Not. So you are conceptualizing what is communication. So communication is receiving and sending a message in nana. So next is refer to the situation or to something said by previous speaker and integrate it with your main point. So what is communication? During your junior high school and senior high school days, it was already discussed to you. So you'll just recall it, you point out the main point, and then you talk na. And then support main points with anecdotes, examples, and other forms. So naturalness and spontaneity of expression. The next is extemporaneous. So extemporaneous is speakers know their topic. So it's like giving you a topic beforehand, giving you a time for you to think, to outline your ideas before speaking. So prepared an outline. It has an outline, of course. You point out your main points there, you write it, and then you deliver your speech. So next is deliver their topic by using their own language at the time of speaking. So you just wrote outline. Wala man ka nagsulat og kanang i-say dira para basahon or i-memorize. So you just put outline and you use your words. Then adjust to the occasion and alter details and naturalness and spontaneity of expression. So I think the best example for this is when you are reporting in a class. You were given a topic by your teacher beforehand. You prepare it. You think ideas, and you prepare on how to present it in the class. So what is the difference between impromptu and extemporaneous? So extemporaneous is given with without previous preparation. So on the spot, on the spur of the moment, wala kay preparation, kalit lang siya. However, sa extemporaneous, you're given a time, the speakers know their topic beforehand.
The modes of communication. Memorize is one of the modes of communication, wherein the speakers commit to memorization. It is an act of memorizing the information in a speech and presenting it without using a script or notes. It is also beyond manuscript delivery and used when exact wording is required. It is delivered during declamatory or oratorical contest and a word for word. The following are the examples of memorize. First is the valedictory speech, to be followed by the speech choir, reciting poems or tula, and lastly, the tongue twister and many more. The advantage and disadvantage of memorized speech. It enables the speaker to maintain eye contact with the audience throughout the speech, and can move freely around the stage and use hands to make gestures. While the disadvantages of memorize is risk of forgetting the speech is high and time consuming as well. Manuscript reading is another mode of communication, wherein it is a written text read to an audience from a paper script or teleprompter. Also, this involves reading the speech and a word-for-word iteration of a written message. It maintains the attention on the printed page except when using visual aids. The speaker prepared their speech and read it during the delivery before their audience. Also, this required a careful using of words. Manuscript reading generally employed during official meetings or conferences and etc. So these are the examples of manuscript. A speech given at a wedding by the best man, honoring a well-known event speaker, and oral report or a given chapter. As we can see or notice from the given examples of the manuscript, the speaker before his or her speech, we can observe that they are holding a piece of paper or notes for them to read it in front of the audience. The advantage of the manuscript reading is that it enables us to speak the exact repetition of the original words, and this control of time and word of choice, while the disadvantages of the manuscript reading is loss of eye contact to the audience and loss of natural speaking style.